Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our GRCAM virtual conference. I'm your host, Emmanuel Barbee. I would like to encourage everyone on my Facebook friends list, everyone in my social groups, and all of my listeners worldwide to please do me a favor, hit that like button and share this video podcast with your friends, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure that you are subscribed to my YouTube page. It's free. Help make this video podcast go viral by posting this link to your Facebook page, your Instagram page, and or on your Twitter page. This video podcast is available in three forms: audio, video, and as a written text in order for me to reach our audience. I don't want to keep getting bogged down with Black American issues. Since Black Chicago has rejected and overlooked my plan and vision for 31 years, my Christian business will be membership-based, and I will turn over the business once I have my management team in place and take my talent to Africa and work with Africans that want more out of life. Truth be told, Black America don't want a solution. My revised book has been on Amazon for 11 years and still barely selling. Items on my virtual store is also barely selling. It takes capital to start a business. Since 2010, I have been paying out of pocket to secure the business title. I'm not getting pushback from white people. I'm getting pushback from Black people. The white man is not stopping Black people from buying my revised book, buying items from my virtual store, or stopping Black people from listening to my podcast. These are choices we are making ourselves, and we have to accept that responsibility. I created a GoFundMe page last April as a crowdfunding source so that everyone knows exactly where the funds will be going. We will be using our GoFundMe page as an indicator of our progress. So far, out of 1,679 people on my Facebook friends list, only 4 people have donated to our film project, and this is why it's taken me so long to get things done. I am encouraging everyone on my Facebook friends list, everyone in my social groups, and all of my listeners from around the globe. Please subscribe to my GoFundMe page and share my page with all of your friends on all social media that you are on. Please leave a public comment in the comment section on my YouTube page. This will help get the ball rolling. Those of you who will donate to our film project through our GoFundMe page and display your name and the amount that you are contributing, we will mention you in the film credits. In addition, everyone who contributes to our film project will earn cool points on our future live events at Ghettos, Chicago to show our appreciation. The best thing is that we will own the property and host unlimited events as we want. We will reach out to Black-owned food vendors and caterers to give them shine for their business. We will be community-oriented. I also encourage everyone on my friends list, everyone in my social groups, and all of my listeners worldwide to help get my revised book on the bestsellers list so that the world would take our cause serious. This is 100% grassroots. We are not getting any funding from the government or major corporation because our focus is on strengthening the Black family while improving the African American community, starting in Chicago. I am not interested in writing and publishing more books, but rather producing quality Black empowerment films and creating successful Black businesses. I am not online to beg for donations. I want to exchange something of value. My thing is, if I am going to ask for something, then I'm going to have a product or service behind it, like my revised book and items on my virtual store. This podcast is an extension of the grassroots community activist movement. Over here, we promote critical thinking while discussing social issues affecting the diaspora and people on the African continent until the Grassroots Community Activist Institute materialized. Without support from the Black grassroots and the global African family, then I am unable to do my job. I am calling upon members of my African group, GRCAM of Africa, to step up and tell your family members who live abroad in such places as Europe, Canada, and the United States of America about my vision for Africa. Encourage them to read my story and to befriend me on Facebook. Also encourage them to donate to our film project. This will help get the ball rolling. Once we get GRCAM of Chicago established in America, then I will bring the best of the diaspora with me to meet you all in person, starting in South Africa, so that we can begin building up South Africa as well as building up the African American community in Chicago. I do not operate like the next black man. I have my own style and way of doing things. I call upon my Christian group members in Light of the World Inspirational Group and Christian Spoken Word Network to help me get my revised book on the bestsellers list and donate what you can to our film project. Finally, I call upon every African immigrant within the United States of America. I need your help in building one of the most important black institutions in America. All I ask is that you read my story first. If you agree with my plan and vision for Black America and Africa, then donate what you can to our film project and send me a friend request on Facebook so that I can speak with you directly. 31 years Black America has rejected my vision and plan. I refuse to be ignored. Those who work with me will go down in history with me and Sister Renee. Black people in America has been marching and protesting, begging the white supremacist financial elites for freedom, justice, and equality for the past 60 years. I have a better option. Come over here and listen to what I have to say. After I finish my presentation, then I will turn the show over to our panelists who will give their commentary about the topic, either from a spiritual perspective or from their own perspective. Afterwards, then, we will open up the phone lines for general Q&A through StreamYard. This video podcast is Side A. I provide all of my links in the commentary section on my YouTube page for all to see. I come before you with clean hands, and I am determined to move GRCAM to the next level, the big screen, and from there, the African American community, starting in Chicago. Today's topic of discussion, confronting modern issues within Christianity. I'm going to discuss how secular people view Christians, especially evangelical Christians in America. I want to give a disclaimer. We're not bashing the black church. Instead, we are using this platform to discuss social issues affecting black people. That's not many people who wants to talk about this topic. One issue is the problem with church culture. Church culture is based on certain Christian denominations. For example, in America, Sunday morning is the most divided day among Christians because we have the black church, which focus on black culture. We have the white church, which focus on white culture. We have the Latino church, which focus on Latino culture, etc. Each church caters to different cultures and nationalities, so each culture is different. Christian denominations like AME, which stands for African Methodist Episcopal Church, may focus on education. Some churches may focus more on praise and worship. Other churches may focus on biblical teachings, and other churches may focus on the manifestation of the Spirit. If Christians aren't careful, our cultures can cause us as believers to further be divided. Nowadays, we are becoming so focused on self-help, motivational speakers, and therapy experts until we forget we're supposed to lead people to God. Once we're able to get GRCAM of Chicago established in the African American community, our objective is to do a better job at meeting the need of the community and meeting people where they are at. It's great to have all this information. However, if your soul is not ready to meet Jesus, then you are in trouble. Life is too short to be dealing with unnecessary drama. We want to teach our members how to balance life. If we're not careful, then evangelism will become a number game. Too many times we equate church growth to how many people fill the pews. Just because a lot of people are filling up the pews does not mean the church is gaining souls. It's about how many people have given their life to Christ is what matters. With all these mega churches, to me, the church has become a numbers game. The more members you have, the more money you collect. They got to keep the lights on and they got to keep payroll. The main problem with church culture is churchgoers pretend to be something on the outside that they're not on the inside. The church is supposed to be like a hospital for those who are wounded and that's going through a thing. In GRCAM Chicago, we will keep it 100. Our children are living in unhealthy communities. We are doing our best to get this Christian business established for the sake of our children. The Bible says, mark them that cause division and avoid them. Romans chapter 16, verse 17 through 18, King James Version. We have a right to avoid those who are causing problems. Second issue, in-person services. The sentiment is that churches require their members to meet every Sunday indoors. In-persons are selfish, uncaring, and unloving. Even though many churches are gathering with masks and social distancing, it doesn't help that there are just as many, if not more, gathering without masks or distancing and posing the gatherings boldly on social media as if a badge of spiritual pride. Secular people view the church as being reckless, irresponsible, and disdain for the health of others. The church is a First Amendment right to freely assemble, but secular people point out that over 500,000 plus lives have been lost in the United States alone during COVID. In a strange cultural twist, it is now secular people claiming their value and quality of life over the sanctity of life. Third issue, conspiracy theories. Conspiracy theories like QAnon by many evangelical Christians. Many of us have heard about QAnon. What is alarming is the degree by which conspiracy theories like those is spreads have taken hold in church culture. For example, some of these conspiracy theories claim that 5G radio waves are used for mind control. Bill Gates is related to the devil. The germ theory isn't real, and there is a ring of pedophiles made up of state leaders. I'm not going to get into conspiracy theory debates with anyone. I'm telling you what the conversation is about on the streets. It makes Christians as a whole seem not just extreme, but on the fringe. Fourth issue, Christian fundamentalists. The violence that has seemed to come with Christian fundamentalists has them frightened and appalled. They are usually associated with killing people who work at abortion clinics. It's not different than Islamic extremists. They claim it's all about Christianity being identified with hate and violence and forcing a Christian cultural in their minds, political agenda unto the world through terror. To their thinking, it's all the same, terrorism in the name of religion. The fifth issue, political affiliation. White evangelical Christians supported Trump. Secular people didn't care about the importance of conservatives in the Supreme Court. Laws about freedom of religion or the question of abortion. From their perspective, all they cared about was power more than purity. But they would overlook lying, sexual immorality, multiple divorces, ego, and immaturity in leadership. In their estimates, Christian support of Trump was hypocrisy. It gutted our moral authority because we threw what matters morally out of the window in return for political gain. The sixth issue, silence on social justice. Many Christians worldwide saw the video of George Floyd and other tragic events related to racism and social injustice. Instead of a clear stand, all they felt they heard from us were arguments about critical race theory, the denial of institutional racism, and the condemnation of violence and looting in the streets. The seventh issue, sex abuse in the church. This is an uncomfortable topic, but it's a growing problem that has been going on for far too long. The church is supposed to be a safe place where everybody is supposed to feel welcome. Church is the perfect cover-up for sexual predators. I believe if you're going to live an alternative lifestyle and live irregulous, that's between you and God. But don't try to impose your lifestyle onto children. That's not cool. I believe parents need to have these type of conversations with their children. We gotta create a safe space for people to feel comfortable. When I was a teenager, I thought everybody who attended church was good people. It wasn't until I got a little older that I realized there were bad people among us. There's a lot of people who are victimized by church leaders and church members based on some documentaries that I've seen and stories that I've heard. It all starts with gaining the trust of someone. The perpetrator wins the trust of their intended victims, and then the abuser takes away their innocence. This causes feelings of guilt and shame. It transmits a spirit of perversion. We need to be more sensitive about this issue. The Bible tells us to watch and pray. It also tells us to be sober and be diligent. Matthew chapter 26 verse 41 and 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 8, King James Version. I would encourage those who have been sexually abused to get law enforcement involved and seek counseling. In GRCAM of Chicago, we will do criminal background checks on everyone in order to play it safe. We will also hold mandatory orientation and encourage our members to sign a community pledge along with submitting their thumbprint to weed out people that mean us no good. GRCAM of Chicago is based on my experience. I do not want my Christian business associated with con artists, degenerates, pedophiles, hardened criminals, and urban terrorists. We will offer a second chance program for ex-offenders of nonviolent crimes, former gang members, and homeless individuals within the community to show them God's love. Here's what really matters. The world we are trying to reach believe that we don't care about them. They believe we are irrational, not because of our doctrine, but because of what we believe from what we hear online. Those are assessments about our character. Those are assessments about how we match up to the Jesus we proclaim. Those are assessments about our morality. You can laugh at me or hold me in contempt all day long for believing in the virgin birth, the atonement of my sins through Christ's death on the cross. I wear it as a badge of pride. If you claim that the Lord has freed and delivered you, then why not share that information to help someone get delivered? Accountability is what people are uncomfortable with. And over here in the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago, we are going to hold our members as well as ourselves accountable. That's why we want people to sign that community pledge. That's how come we want people to pass our criminal background check. And that's also why we want people to submit their thumbprints. Because after American slavery, this is what should have been done, because what happened was the black community allowed, I would just say, backstabbers, sellouts, the coons, all of that to leave those plantations. And so we have a lot of those type of people that's in our family. I'm just keeping it 100. And again, I have a lot of people that's in my family that's, full of Willie Lynch. That's how come I only deal with only a handful of my family members. That's just how it is. So if I'm like that with my family, how do you think I'm going to be like with strangers? So over here, again, we want to raise that bar. We want to raise the standards. I'm not saying that people got to be holier than thou. We're not into that. Those are the type of people I keep my distance from as well. They just want to go to church to get their praise on. They don't care about these inner city youth being slaughtered like animals. That's why things ain't really changed. That's why things is getting even worse. Since the 90s, when I used to do street ministry, talking about this stuff. Stuff is way worse now, and it's going to get even worse for black Americans because of this Willie Lynch mentality. We got to deal with that head on, and that's what we're going to do in this business. And before we go to Africa, I want to make sure that I have African immigrants here in the United States of America to work with me. Because I want to go to Africa, but we gotta take care of home first, where we're at. I was born here in the United States of America. Even though I was born here, technically I feel like this is not my country, because my people are being treated as third and fourth class citizens, and that's not cool. But I'm not trying to just cut and run. I have a responsibility to do, and that is to help the next generation. That's why I'm trying to reach out to our the black millennials, Generation Z. This is why I am online. I'm not on here to be popular or just sitting up here just to be making videos for my health. This is a public announcement, and I'm going to keep it real. Now, when I come on other people's shows and stuff like that, they want to quote-unquote kind of censor me. They don't want me to talk about my book. I'm just saying some of them. They don't want me to talk about my virtual store. I'm like, well, what the heck you got me on your show for if you don't want me to talk about those things? Because that's what I'm trying to do. And they don't want me to talk about my business. I'm like, so why you invite me on your show for if I can't talk about those things, if you're going to restrict me? So over here, I am free. I'm free to talk about whatever I want to talk about. And over here, we're going to be promoting the vision. And I want people to hear me loud and clear. And ain't no shame that I read my speeches. I'm going to continue to read my speeches until we get this film project fully funded and made. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no preacher nor politician is going to sit me down in my own business. Because I'm going to run my business the way I run my home, drama free. And that's real. And again, the devil is not welcome over here. I'm not saying, again, that we're all high mighty and, so spiritual and all that kind of stuff. Over here we have balance. We want to meet the need of the black community big time. And again, I'm not running for no public office. I'm just keeping it real. 31 years of my life is my credibility. And people want to sit up here and want to say, well, what are you doing right now in the black community? That's a dumb question to ask, really. I'm trying to get this organization popping. But again, it takes a team to make a dream work. And yes, I know in the flesh, Chicago don't deserve this organization to be here. And that's fine. But it doesn't matter what city I go to in the United States. It's going to be the same situation. That Willie Lynch mentality is across the board in every major city in America. And we're going to have to deal with that. And that's what we want to do here in this organization. We have to heal from this Willie Lynch mentality. We have to separate from the enemy within. Degenerates, F-code Negroes, pedophiles, urban terrorists, con artists. I don't want no con artists up in my business to hurt my reputation. This is my reputation that's on the line. You know what I'm saying? I want people to know that GRCAM Chicago is a real, legitimate, authentic business that represents the black community. That's why we call it grassroots. You know what I'm saying? But it's a lot of competition because there's other people that's using the term. But, it is what it is. And again, I'm not trying to say I'm all that. All I'm saying is over here we have standards. And unfortunately, yes, I have to do a film because I'm just keeping it 100. A lot of our people don't like to read. Now, for example, if someone says that in the medical community they have a cure for cancer, don't you know the world would embrace that? And, try to duplicate it and see, replicate it and see if it's, a real cure. This is what I was hoping the black community was going to do with my revised book once I got it published. My first book was, it was stolen. Again, the history is that I paid, back in 2010, $3,000 to get my book edited and published, but they did was just publish the book. They didn't edit it, and so it made me look very unprofessional. So I give credit to Sister Renee for helping me revise my book. That's why she has her character is going to be in my film, and she's going to be respected, and she's going to go down in history with me. But my thing is, I want to make sure that the African immigrants that work with us here in the United States, that they're going to be my spokesperson when we come to Africa for credibility. Because I'm not going to sit up here and explain who I am. They can talk for me. But most of all, the business is going to speak for itself. That's what I want people to know. For me to be known for. Creating the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago. And once I have my management team in place, I'm going to turn it over to qualified black middle class professionals so that this organization can be passed down to the next generation. GRCAM of Chicago will be based on two, I would say, business models. We're going to have a nonprofit sector, and we're also going to have a for-profit sector. That's where I'm going to make my bread and butter from that. But so basically it's going to be two businesses. But we have to build it. And that's something that we can do as black people. Something positive. We're not with all that drama. And we're going to have our own media. That's very important. And that's going to be the new black voices of media. So that way, we're going to learn how to support one another in this business, and I want to make sure that none of my members will ever have to indulge in this type of foolishness that I had to endure just for trying to do something positive in the black community. So over here, we're going to support our members. And I want to make sure that my members are going to benefit from this Christian business. And for those that don't want to, that I would say tired of organized religion, then this organization is for you. Because under the spiritual component, you can worship God how you feel fit, basically. As long as we have the during business hours, we have that component where you can just worship the Lord. It doesn't have to be necessarily just on Sundays. So we're going to have that for our my Christian brothers and sisters. And secular people are welcome. But I am going to let you know up front, I'm not going to include people that's, I would say, against the faith. So, like devil worshippers, nah, I'm sorry. We're not playing that. Especially if you're open about it. People that practice voodoo, I'm sorry. That goes against my spiritual faith, so I'm not going to have those type of people. Because basically, we're trying to replicate how it's going to be in heaven. Everybody's not going to heaven. That's just a fact. So again, we want to separate ourselves from people that doesn't mean us any good. And those, again, that's just, I would just say that's not, really religious or spiritual and all that stuff. As long as you can follow instructions, we fine. But you're going to be held accountable for your actions. And anyone that tries to undermine me, we're going to have protocol in place to handle that. Again, I'm not on here to be playing games. I need, for my brothers and sisters on the African continent to know that I mean business. I want to come to South Africa, but please do your part. Encourage, even if you're not in South Africa, as long as you're on the African continent, the main thing is to get us, which is the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago, to get us to make our presence known on the African continent. So don't worry if, let's say, if you live in Mozambique, that's fine. If I'm not, even though you're not part of the 10 main countries that we're going to visit, but at least, that's what I'm saying, at least as long as we're over there. Eventually we'll hit all the sub-Saharan Africa. But right now, I'm trying to do this within my lifetime. Again, I'm 31 years behind schedule. So, long as I make it over to South Africa, do what we can in South Africa to, I would say, that's a start. And then eventually we're going to visit, the other 9 African countries and set up local chapters there and replicate it. Because it started here in America. And so this is something that African immigrants, as well as Afro-Caribbeans, Afro-Brazilians, and most of all, African Americans, because they're going to come on board, because once they see this organization up and running and successful, and we're making money, and the community is turning around for the good, and we're countering those negative that narrative and stereotypes of the low-income African-American community. Once we're able to counter that, then that's when everybody's going to want to play like they want to be involved and all that stuff. But I'm going to let them know, hey, it's 31 years, you guys rejected me. But I've been trying to get this thing popping. So everybody's going to have to be checked at that front door in terms of going through our mandatory orientation, passing our criminal background checks, signing the community pledge, and submitting that thumbprint. Because we're going to hold people accountable, and also we're going to reward people. This organization is about giving our youth an opportunity to shine. We're going to give them stipends. But again, I can't do all this stuff myself. I have a Nehemiah assignment. That's all I want Black people to understand, and African people to understand, Afro-Caribbean to understand, and Afro-Brazilians to understand. So that's important. And when we come to Africa, that's where I'm a lead by example. I'm applying for dual citizenship, and also I'm going to make our second film, African Liberator, Battle Against the Colonized Mindset. And so we're going to raise funds for that. I want that to be, again, a $500,000 budget for the film project over there. Get it popping, and then the proceeds from that will allow us to do a lot of major things. And also we're going to include other films too. Stories from our members. We want them to submit the different stories so that we can turn their stories into films. We want to encourage our members also to write their own books. Something positive, that's all. We want to host, the best entertainment. We want to keep it clean, though. Not all that perverted stuff. We want to keep it family friendly. Because after all, we just want to give our youth, an opportunity to shine. Instead of always looking at all this negativity about these drug dealers. You know what I'm saying? I look at power. I look at it, because I'm like, wow, that's one of the, best things that they show on Stars. But, it's not something that I want to challenge that. I want to challenge that lifestyle of, glorifying, being a Black man. That's the only thing that they know how to do is to be a criminal and a drug dealer. Because all that stuff is doing is destroying the Black community. They're not telling you that part of it. And I talk about that in my revised book. Again, I told you that, my family members, personal, one of my brothers, was an addict, ended up becoming an addict. And my other brother was a petty drug dealer. And so that's how come, I said that, that I know firsthand what it's like, how drugs destroy the Black family. And so we against that. All right, with that being said, thank you all for listening to this pep talk. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the phone lines for my panelists. And if my panelists, if they don't come on, then no problem. The show must continue. We're going to just do it without the panelists then. We'll open it up for the general Q&A. But again, I am determined. But again, I don't want to be doing this another 31 years. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, phone lines are now open for those that's going to be on my panelists. I'll wait around for about 5 minutes. And if I don't hear from anyone within 5 minutes that's going to be on the panel, then we're going to open it up for Q&A. But you have